Hello, good evening everyone. So we are going to continue with our discussion. Hopefully we will finish the whole credit transactions during this lecture video. So our topic for tonight, hopefully matapos natin, makover natin lahat is pledge, mortgage, and anti-crisis. Okay? So first we proceed with chapter 1, provisions common to pledge and mortgage. Before we go any further, guys, I just would like to remind you that these contracts are all accessory contracts, just like what we have previously discussed, guarantee or suretyship. These are all accessory contracts that tends to strengthen the credit or the trust by the creditor towards the debtor. So it's not enough kasi that uh, sometimes it's not enough to simply contract a loan obligation, okay, without any assurance on the part of the creditor, and it will be easier if there are these kinds of contracts that will be executed that will kind of secure, diba? That will secure the payment of the loan obligations, no? Kaya itong mga loan obligations na ito, kapag meron silang accessory contracts like pledge, mortgage, guarantee, suretyship, or anti-crisis, they are secured obligations. Why? Because in case of non-payment, you can sell the property pledge or the thing mortgage or make use of anti-crisis. Okay? So with that in mind, let's proceed to chapter 1, the provisions common to pledge and mortgage. So our chapter 1 begins with Article 2085 or 2085, which states that the following requisites are essential to the contracts of pledge and mortgage. These are the uh, essential requisites in a pledge or in a mortgage contract. So hitting two birds with one stone tayo ngayon. So the first requisite is that they be constituted to secure the fulfillment of a principal obligation. This concept siguro okay na sa inyo kasi we have discussed before the concept of an accessory contract and a principal contract, and sinabi din natin earlier during the introduction dito sa video lecture that these contracts are entered into to secure the fulfillment of a principal obligation. So that is the first essential requisite for a pledge or a mortgage. The second requisite is that the pledgor or mortgagor be the absolute owner of the thing pledge or mortgage. So, dito sa second requisite, the pledgor, okay, yung magpe-pledge ng gamit, or the mortgagor, yung mag-mortgage ng gamit, dapat daw siya ang absolute owner. Hindi lang possessor or hindi lang hiniram niya yan, dapat siya mismo ang may-ari. Okay? So, that is the second requisite. He must be the absolute owner of the thing, pledge, or mortgage. The third one, that the persons constituting the pledge or mortgage have the free disposal of their property, and in the absence thereof, that they be legally authorized for the purpose. So what's the meaning of this? This can be connected to the second essential requisite, that you are the absolute owner. Since you are the absolute owner, it naturally comes that you have the right to dispose the property. Okay, so you can dispose it, you can sell it, you can transfer it or convey it whatever you want. Okay, so those are the three essential requisites. So remember them. Must be used to secure the fulfillment of an obligation. You must be the absolute owner and you must have the right to dispose of the property. Third parties who are not parties to the principal obligation may secure the latter by pledging or mortgaging their own property. Okay? So dito sa general concept ng pledge or mortgage, under the regular concept, there's only the creditor and the debtor. Okay? The debtor issuing or the debtor uh, entering into another contract of pledge or mortgage, yung gamit niya ang ipe-pledge niya kay creditor or yun ang imo-mortgage niya kay creditor. While dito sa third persons na sinasabi natin, okay, we have the normal parties, the creditor and the debtor. A third person daw may pledge or mortgage his property to the creditor to secure the payment of the obligation of the debtor. That is the scenario under the last paragraph of Article 2085. Article 2086, the provisions of Article 2052, which we have discussed before, are applicable to a pledge or mortgage. So what is Article 2052? That a guarantee cannot exist without a valid obligation. So we erase that one. Pledge or mortgage cannot exist without a valid obligation. Same reasoning gaya sa guarantee, because they are accessory contracts. Okay, meaning that they are dependent on the validity of the principal contract. Hence, if the principal contract is void, then the accessory contract is also void. But if the principal contract is merely voidable, unenforceable, or based on a natural obligation, the accessory contract will remain valid. Why? Kasi kapag voidable is valid until annulled, unenforceable is valid but not yet enforceable and based on a natural obligation. Same concept under the guarantee. Article 2087, it is also of the essence of these contracts that when the principal obligation becomes due, the things in which the pledge or mortgage consists may be alienated for the payment of the creditor. To the creditor. So what is the meaning of this? Okay? Sir, hindi ba natin de-define kung anong difference ng pledge sa mortgage? They are both accessory contracts. Okay? Both of them are entered into to secure the obligation. Diba? Dapat owner din lang mag-pledge, owner din ang mag-mortgage. And at the same time, kapag pledge, it always involves personal property, while in a mortgage, it involves either real property or personal property. Okay? Yun ang difference naman sa pledge at sa mortgage. While sa pledge, there is, i-discuss kasi natin ito mamaya, there is transfer of possession. While in mortgage, hindi kailangan na merong transfer of possession. So yung dating pledge is na kay pledgee, meaning na kay creditor. Okay? While dito sa mortgage, hindi necessarily na possessor si creditor. Okay? So itong mga to, it involves properties. Okay? Kung pledge, personal. Kung mortgage, real properties. Itong properties na ito, sabi ng Article 2087, may be alienated for the payment of the debt to the creditor. So meaning, If ang pinledge mo ay cellphone, alahas, or kwintas, ganyan, yan, pwedeng ibenta. Yan, sinasabi nating auction sale or uh, pawn sale or execution sale, no, binebenta yung mga yan para pambayad dun sa creditor. Okay, whether mortgage yan or pledge. Ang rule dyan is kapag hindi makabayad si debtor, pwede mong i-alienate, pwede mong ibenta yung properties, okay, pambayad dun sa debt. Okay, so you must have this in mind that in a pledge or in a mortgage, it is an accessory contract. It is based on a principal contract which is initially a loan or an obligation, okay, of a sum of money. Okay, dun siya nakabase. Okay, so yun lagi ang isipin nyo. Okay, hindi yung pledge is utang, mortgage is utang, hindi. These are contracts used to secure the utang. Di ba? They secure the utang. Kapag hindi mo mabayaran, yung pinledge mo na gamit, yun yung ibebenta. Yung mortgage mo na gamit, yun yung ibebenta. The creditor cannot appropriate the things given by way of pledge or mortgage or dispose of them. Okay? Any stipulation to the contrary is null and void. Attorney, sabi mo, pwedeng i-alienate, pwedeng i-dispose. Yes, pwede. Okay? Pero hindi pwede na i-appropriate ni creditor sa kanya. Okay? When we say appropriate, yung gamit, imbes na ibebenta, sa kanya na lang. Okay? Diba? Kaya imbes na ibenta ko pa yung lupa, let's say for example, it's a mortgage, instead of selling the land, akin na lang yung lupa. No, hindi pwede yun, di ba? Napag-usapan na natin yan before. Hindi pwede na si creditor will instantly own the thing pledge or the thing mortgage. Hindi pwede. Yun yung sinasabi natin dito. Hindi rin pwede na siya ang magbebenta nito without going through the proper process. No? So, hindi pwedeng ibebenta niya basta-basta. It must be through an auction, either sa pawn auction or execution sale. Okay? So, hindi siya basta-basta na siya na lang. Siya ang magte-take control, siya ang magbenta. Okay, no? A pledge or mortgage is indivisible, even though the debt may be divided among the successors in interest of the debtor or of the creditor. What does that mean? Meaning, a pledge or a mortgage daw is indivisible. Kapag sinabi mo kasing indivisible, hindi mo siya pwedeng ihiwalay. Una-muna, the pledge or the mortgage, which is an accessory contract, is nakadikit yan sa principal contract dun sa obligation. Hindi mo siya pwedeng iwalay. Yun yung sinasabi niya na indivisible, and same time, hindi mo rin siya pwedeng hati-hatiin dun sa number of heirs or successors na meron si debtor or si creditor. Meaning, whole siya, as a whole yung pledge or yung mortgage. Therefore, the debtor's heir who has paid a part of the debt cannot ask for the proportionate extinguishment of the pledge or mortgage as long as the debt is not completely satisfied. So, let's say for example, si creditor, si debtor, namatay si debtor, meron siyang successors or heirs. Ang heirs niya si A, B, tsaka si Z. Okay? A, B, tsaka si Z. Ngayon, si A, binayaran niya yung, since, let's say for example, para mawala yung mortgage, ay para ma-release yung, let's say for example, si D, nag-execute siya ng mortgage minortgage nila yung lupa nila. Yung lupa nila, doon nakatira ngayon si A, tsaka si B, tsaka si Z. Ngayon, para ma-release yung mortgage, okay, kailangan mabayaran itong utang para mawala yung mortgage, no? Kasi itong mortgage na ito, sa isang ari-arian, whether real property or personal property, ang mga mortgage, ang pledge na yan, burden yan sa property. Why? Kasi kapag hindi mo nabayaran yung mortgage or pledge, pwede yang ibenta para masatisfy yung obligation. Okay? Kaya burden yan. Kaya para wala ng burden yung property, babayaran nila yung obligation. Ngayon, kung si A, kung ang total na obligation is 900,000, si A binayaran yung 300,000 kasi share niya daw, ma-release ba si A dun sa obligation? No, it's not, because of the principle of indivisibility. Okay? Hindi pwedeng hati-hatiin yan, buo yan. No? Kung gusto mong ma-release yung mortgage dun sa property, you pay it whole 900,000 kahit pa ikaw lang ang magbayad. Basta mabayaran yung 900,000. Okay, that is the principle of indivisibility. Neither can the creditor's heir who received his share of the debt return the pledge or cancel the mortgage to the prejudice. Ito naman, the other way around. We have the creditor and the debtor. Si creditor ngayon yung namatay. Ngayon, meron siyang heir, A, B, and Z. Okay? Ngayon, si D, meron siyang utang, same pa rin na amount, 900K. Okay, si D, sabi niya, 300 pa lang ang meron ako. Ibigay ko muna yung share ni Z na 300K. Pwede na bang i-release ni Z si D dun sa share niya ng 300? No, hindi pwede. Why? Kasi nga, principle of indivisibility. Hindi mo pwedeng hati-hatiin yung pledge or yung mortgage. Why? Because they are secured by only one property. Therefore, kung babayaran mo yan, kung babayaran mo man yan, bayaran mo dapat as a whole. No? Hindi yung hati-hati. Kahit pa ikaw lang magbayad, it's okay. Basta mabayaran mo yung principal obligation na 900,000, that's fine. That's the principle of indivisibility. From these provisions is accepted the case in which there being several things given in mortgage or pledge, each of them guarantees only a determinate portion of the credit. So, what we have discussed now, which is these three paragraphs, is the general rule. General rule, we have the rule on indivisibility. Okay? Yan ang general rule. Kailan magkakaroon ng exception? The exception comes in the fourth or in this paragraph. No? Kapag daw, let's say for example, gawin na natin scenario, creditor and debtor. Si debtor nag-issue ng pledge or ng mortgage, pero ang mortgage niya, tatlong gamit. No? Let's say for example, lupa lahat to, title lahat to ng lupa. Ang hiniram niya, let's stick to the amount of 900,000. So, kumbaga, ang sinabi niya, itong lupa na ito is for the 300,000 debt. Ito is for the 300,000 debt. Ito is for the 300,000 debt. Okay? Ngayon, since each title or each property represents an amount that they secure, okay, payment of a certain amount will release the property. No, kahit hindi buo na 900K yung bayaran, since nabayaran na yung 300K, pwede niya nang i-release yung isang title. Kung babayaran niya ulit yung next, pwede nang i-release. Kung babayaran ulit, pwede nang i-release. Okay? Pero the general rule is, kapag nag-pledge ka or mortgage ka ng gamit for 900,000, kung nagbayad ka lang ng 300K, hindi ka pwedeng mag-partial release. No? Hindi ka pwedeng mag-release. Kasi nga, secured lang siya by one property. Therefore, i-release mo lang yung property pag yung whole obligation ang nabayaran. So, since isang property lang yan at whole obligation ang sinecure niya, indivisible siya. Pero kung kanya-kanya ng amount yung sinesecure ng each property, kanya-kanyang amount, okay, then you can apply the exemption. Okay, so pwede mong i-release yung appropriate properties. The debtor in this case shall have a right to the extinguishment of the pledge or mortgage as the portion of the debt for which each thing is specially answerable. So, precisely. No? Since, kunwari nabayaran niya yung 300,000, pwede itong ma-release, ma-extinguish na yung pledge with regards to this thing. Okay? Kung 600 na bayaran niya, pwedeng dalawa ang ma-release, ma-extinguish. Okay? Article 2090, the indivisibility of a pledge or mortgage is not affected by the fact that the debtors are not solidarily liable. So what is the meaning of this? Yung sinasabi nating principle of indivisibility of a pledge or mortgage, hindi daw yan maapektuhan ng fact na hindi solidarily liable. Kapag hindi solidarily liable, ang sinasabi mo dyan, joint ang obligation. Okay? So, the mere fact daw na joint ang obligation, guys, dapat matibay ang background nyo sa obligations and contracts. So, kapag joint obligation kasi, kung ilan silang umutang, hati-hati sila. Okay? Hati-hati sila. Pero pag solidary kasi, kahit pa ilan silang umutang, each of them can be liable to pay the whole amount. So, hindi sila necessarily na liable. No? Pwedeng yung isa lang ang singilin mo for the whole amount. Ganyan. Yan ang solidary liability. Dito daw, kahit pa joint daw yung obligation nila, kahit hati-hati sila, hindi ibig sabihin na merong indivisibility. It does not mean na merong indivisibility. Yun lang yung punto ni Article 2090. So, even if joint yung obligation, hindi ibig sabihin na exception sa indivisibility yun. The only exception sa indivisibility is kapag ito, no? There are several things given in mortgage or pledge. Yung example natin kanina. Okay, yun lang yung exception sa indivisibility. I hope that's clear. The contract of pledge or mortgage may secure all kinds of obligations, be they pure, suspensive, or resolutory condition. No? So meaning, kahit anong obligation pwede mong i-secure ng pledge or mortgage. Whether pure siya, walang condition, or merong condition, whether suspensive or resolutory, pwede mong i-secure with pledge or mortgage. A promise to constitute a pledge or mortgage gives rise only to personal action between the parties without prejudice to the criminal responsibility incurred by him who defrauds another by offering a pledge or mortgage as an improper things which he knew were subject or okay. Ito muna. Dito muna tayo. A promise to constitute a pledge or mortgage gives rise only to a personal action between the contracting parties. So let's say for example, si creditor at si debtor. Si debtor nag-promise siya na magko-constitute siya either a pledge or mortgage para i-secure yung obligation niya. Okay, itong promise na ito may give rise to a personal action. So pwedeng kasuhan ni creditor si debtor later on kung hindi siya mag-constitute ng pledge or mortgage later on. So dapat mag-constitute ka kasi actionable na siya. Meaning pwede siyang kasuhan kung hindi niya ginawa kahit pa-promise yan. Okay? Without prejudice daw, dun sa mga kaso na pwedeng i-file ni creditor sa kanya. In fact, creditor can file a case for estafa. Why? For defrauding another person, di ba? By misrepresentation. Okay, sabi niya na meron siyang property, nag-promise pa siya, umasa si creditor, that is estafa. So, pwede niyang kasuhan ng estafa. Aside from personal action. Take note guys, aside from personal action, pwede niyang kasuhan ng estafa. Let's proceed to chapter 2, pledge. Okay? So this one naman, specific naman siya sa pledge. Yung kanina, both pledge and mortgage, ito pledge lang. In addition to the requisites prescribed in Article 2085, so 2085, dapat it is constituted to secure obligations. It must be the owner. The pledgor must be the owner. And he must have the right to dispose. Diba? Yan yung 2085 natin. It is necessary in order to constitute the contract of pledge that the thing be placed in the possession of the creditor or a third person. Anong ibig sabihin nun? So, meron pa siyang isang element, which is possession. Ito na yung sinabi ko kanina. Di ba? In advance ko na. Kapag sa pledge, yung gamit, di ba kapag pledge, personal property lang yan, hindi real property. Ano yung personal property? Cellphone, laptop, sasakyan, lahat ng pwede mong i-move is personal property. Except lupa, bahay, ganyan, which is hindi mo siya ma-move. Okay? Ito is personal property. Dapat daw itong personal property is nasa possession ng creditor. Okay? Yan yung pledge. Kaya kapag meron na kasing special laws on pawn shop, diba? Pero parang ganoon din siya. Okay? Covered din siya noon, pero meron lang special laws on that. No? Kung nagsangla kayo ng sing-sing, ng necklace, ayan. So, ganoon din. Sino-surrender nyo yung possession sa pinagsanglaan ninyo. Okay? Pero dito naman, iso-surrender mo yung gamit kay creditor. Kay creditor mo iso-surrender. Okay? Ganun lang yun. Or, ang sabi niya dito, third person. So, pwedeng third party. Article 2094, all movables, movable property or personal property. Ito, na-discuss na namin. Sabi natin kanina, ang subject is personal property or movable property. Lahat ng pwede mong igalaw. Diba? Pwede mong igalaw. I-appropriate, pwede mong ibenta. Basta yung pwedeng, ito may condition siya, susceptible of possession, of course, pwede mong hawakan, pwede mong uwi. Okay, sasakyan, kotse, motor, no? Pwede, these are all movables. Pwede silang subject ng pledge. Also, hindi lang movables, but also incorporeal rights. So, what are incorporeal rights? These are evidenced by negotiable instruments, bill of ladings, share of stocks, bonds, warehouse receipts, similar documents. Lahat yan pwede rin ma-pledge. Okay? Pledge na tayo. Wala na tayo sa mortgage. The instrument proving right pledge shall be delivered to the creditor. And if negotiable, must be endorsed. So, since we're talking about incorporeal rights, no? Ito kasi, hindi naman, kaya nga natin tinawag na incorporeal kasi hindi naman sila existing. Existing lang sila because of evidences of its existence. Diba? Yung stock, shares of stocks, hindi mo naman masabi kung na meron yan, hindi mo yan mahawakan, hindi mo yan ma-prove na nandyan. Pero meron kang stock certificate. That is a proof na meron kang stocks. No? Hindi yung stock mismo yun. No? Stock certificate is only a proof na meron kang ownership for a certain share of stock. No? So, iba pa yung instrument proving the right pledge. Okay? Iba pa yung pledge certificate na sinasabi. Iba yung pledge certificate, iba yung stock certificate, iba yung corporeal rights. So, kapag yung pledge certificate daw, it shall be delivered to the creditor. And if negotiable, kung pwede siyang i-further transfer, it must be endorsed to. So, hindi lang delivery. In short, there must be delivery and endorsement. Article 2096, a pledge shall not take effect against third persons if a description of the thing pledged and the date of the pledge do not appear in a public instrument. So dito, take note, itong Article 2096 talks about the formalities. Formalities in a pledge contract. So saan nakalagay ang isang pledge contract? Una, dapat nasa public instrument. So dapat nasa public instrument siya. Okay? Pangalawa, dapat naka-describe yung thing at nandun yung date ng pledge. Okay? Why? What's the purpose of this formality? In order to bind third persons. Para mabind mo yung mga ibang tao. Kasi kung walang kasulatan, hindi naka-public instrument, walang description, hindi mo alam kung ano, walang date, hindi mo alam kailan na-execute, you cannot bind third persons, no? But, pwedeng merong pledge na hindi public instrument, wala ring description, walang date, pero it will not bind third persons, no? That's why it's very important if you execute a pledge, no, dapat kung ikaw yung creditor, dapat naka-public instrument yan, nakalagay yung description. Of course, you describe it kung sasakyan yan, lahat ng details, yung engine number, serial number, chassis number, yan, lahat yan nakalagay, no? Pati yung date of the pledge to bind third persons. Pero pwede namang wala. Your only vulnerability is hindi siya magbabind against third persons, no? Yun lang yung effect niya. 2097, with the consent of the pledgee, the thing pledged may be alienated by the pledger or owner subject to the pledge. Diyan muna, kasi two sentence. Mahirap naman, no? So, pwede mong ibenta yung thing na naka-pledge. Okay? Basta merong consent. Kaninong consent ang kailangan mo? Si pledgee or si creditor. Okay? Malamang, since ang may-ari niyan, si pledgor or si debtor, okay, siya ang may-ari niyan. Okay? At ang possession, di ba? Na kanino ang possession? Na kay pledgee, na kay creditor. Na kay creditor ang possession. Since nasa kanyang possession, kailangan mo ng consent niya. That's basic. Imagine, pinledge mo yung cellphone mo dun sa kaibigan mo para makautang ka sa kanya. Since nasa kanya yung cellphone, kung gusto mong ibenta yung cellphone, kailangan mo ng consent ni pledgee kasi siya ang may hawak ng cellphone. Okay? The ownership of the thing pledged is transmitted to the vendee or transferee as soon as the pledgee consents to the alienation, but the latter shall continue in possession. So, if merong consent, okay, the ownership will pass to the buyer. Okay? So, merong creditor, merong debtor. Pinledge mo yung cellphone mo. Let's say, for example, cellphone. Kapag pinledge mo yan, ang possession na kay creditor, na kay pledgee. Kailangan niyang mag-consent kung gusto mo siyang ibenta kay buyer. Kung binenta mo siya kay buyer, ownership daw will pass. Pero possession will remain with the creditor or the pledgee. Siya pa rin ang may hawak ng cellphone, hindi si buyer. Okay? Yun yung dyan mo rin makikita yung relevance nung uh, being in a public instrument, no? Kasi kung hindi siya naka-public instrument, it will not bind third persons, meaning kahit pa naka-pledge ito kay C, pwede lang kunin ni B kasi wala namang public instrument na pledge yung property. Pero kung merong public instrument, hindi pwedeng kunin ni B kahit pa nabenta. Okay, as simple as that. The contract of pledge gives the right to the creditor to retain the thing in his possession or that third person to whom it has been delivered until the debt is paid. So, as simple as Article 2098, it talks about the right of retention. Okay? Meaning, okay, that if the debt is not paid and merong term, hanggat di na babayaran si creditor, he can exercise his right of retention. Meaning, since nasa kanya yung possession, siya ang may hawak. When we talk about possession, sino ang may hawak? Since nasa kanyang possession, pwede niya yung i-retain hanggang mabayaran mo yung buong utang. 2099, the creditor shall take care of the thing pledged with the diligence of a good father of family. So, since ikaw creditor ang may possession or ikaw ang may hawak dun sa goods or dun sa thing, you must take care of it with the diligence of a good father of family. Diba? Kung cellphone yan, kung sasakyan yan, dilinisan mo, i-maintain mo, okay, para hindi masira. Kahit pa hindi sa'yo yan. Kasi nasa iyo yung possession. He has a right to reimbursement of the expenses made for preservation. So, meron din siyang right for reimbursement only for expenses made for preservation and is liable for its loss or deterioration. Why? Why is he liable for loss and deterioration? Because of the matter that he is the one in possession of the thing. Okay? Granting na ang may-ari pa rin si debtor, siya naman yung may hawak dun sa gamit. Article 2100, the pledgee cannot deposit the thing pledged with a third person unless there is stipulation authorizing him to do so. So, general rule and exception dito. Meaning, since yung property na kay creditor, okay, nasa possession ni creditor, hindi niya ito pwedeng i-deposit. Meaning, another party, why? Let's say, for example, si creditor, nasa kanya yung thing pledge ni debtor, hindi niya pwedeng ipa-deposit. Ipa-deposit, meaning, hindi niya pwedeng ipahawak, ipa-safe keep. Hindi niya pwedeng ipa-safe keep kay why, no? Why? Because siya dapat ang may possession nun unless may contrary stipulation. The pledgee is responsible for the acts of his agents or employees with respect to the thing pledged. So, there is also a master-servant rule. Master-servant rule under the law on pledge. Okay, so meaning, kung ano ang acts ni servant, meaning ni agent or ni employees, liable si pledgee, si creditor. The pledger has the same responsibility as a bailor in comodatum in the case under 1951. So ano yung liability daw ni pledger? Okay, si pledger or si debtor. Siya yung nag-pledge niyan di ba? Dapat daw, kung merong flaws yung thing loan, dapat i-advise niya kay creditor, no? Kasi kapag na-loss yan, pwede siyang maging liable for what? Pwede siyang maging liable for damages. Okay? So, the debtor has the same responsibility as a bailor in comodatum. Okay? So, since pinipledge yung thing, yung gamit, di ba? Si creditor, debtor, pinledge niya yung gamit kay creditor, na normal si creditor ang gagamit, dapat sabihin niya rin kay creditor kung ano yung flaws nung thing, no? FLA yan. Kung ano yung flaws nung thing. Kung baka masisira ba yan o kung ano hindi na pwedeng gawin kasi meron na siyang meron ng sakit yung gamit, ayan. So, dapat i-advise niya yan. Kung hindi, kapag nasira totally and it results in loss, the debtor may not be liable not only for the obligation but also for damages. 2102. If the pledge earns or produces fruits, income, or dividends or interest, the creditor shall compensate what he receives with those which are owing him. So kung ano man daw ang matanggap ni creditor as fruits ng gamit na nasa kanya, dividends, income, interest, i-apply niya yun dun sa pagkakautang ni debtor, no? Since pinledge niya yan, kung ano man ang fruits, income, dividends, or interest na ma-earn because of this property, o diba? Malay mo, this property produces a lot of fruits, lots of income. Diba? Pwede niya yung gamitin pambayad dun sa utang, yung fruits or income. But if none are owing him, insofar as the amount may exceed that which is due, he shall apply it to the principal. Okay? So kung ang ibig sabihin nun is itong fruits and income and dividends, interest, i-apply mo muna yan dun sa interest ng principal obligation. Okay? Principal obligation. Kung wala ng interest, kung nabayaran na lahat, you pay the principal amount. Okay? Unless there is a stipulation to the contrary, the pledge shall extend to the interest and earnings of the right pledge. So, hindi lang yung dating pledge, okay, ang na-pledge, kundi pati yung interest and its earnings, pati daw yan is naka-pledge. So, parang kasama siya dun sa contract pledge. In case of animals naman, their offspring shall pertain to the pledgor or owner of animals but shall be subject to the pledge if there is no stipulation to the contrary. Meaning, the rule here is accessory follows the principal. Accessory follows the principal. Meaning, since hayop ito, sino ang may-ari ng hayop? Si debtor or si creditor? Of course, si debtor. So, it must belong to the debtor. But since that is pledge, okay, those animals are considered as part of the pledge. No, they can be considered as part of the pledge if there is no stipulation to the contrary. Wait, yun lang ba yun? Okay, that's it for pledge.